The situation with Lamar Jackson just got serious, and not in a small way. What looked like a routine contract discussion has turned into a real issue inside the Baltimore Ravens. Big demands, rising pressure, and a level of risk that nobody in Baltimore wanted to deal with right now. Because this isn't just about money. There's a key detail in all of this that could completely change the future of the team. And being real with you, it might decide whether Lamar is still leading this franchise, or if something much bigger is about to unfold. Once you see what's happening behind the scenes, one thing becomes clear: this could blow up at any moment. When you really take a step back and look at this situation, everything revolves around one firm decision from Lamar, and to me, there's no gray area here. He's made it clear he's not interested in just any extension with the Ravens. The demand is simple but heavy. The new deal has to top what Deshaun Watson got back in 2022, that fully guaranteed $230 million contract, and that completely shifts the conversation. Because this isn't just about big money. It's about a contract structure the NFL still treats as an exception. A lot of executives around the league saw Watson's deal as an outlier, something teams didn't want to repeat. But the way I see it, Lamar is pushing to turn that exception into the new standard, and then raise it even higher. What really stands out is that this didn't come out of nowhere. An April report already made it clear: Lamar will only sign if he gets more guaranteed money than Watson. That's not a small detail. That's the foundation of this entire negotiation. And when you've got a two-time MVP still in his prime making that kind of demand, it changes everything. To me, this says a lot about how Lamar values himself. He's not just trying to get paid. He wants full security, full control, and a deal that protects every dollar no matter what happens on the field. And let's be honest, very few players in this league have the leverage to push like that. He's one of them. At the same time, this puts the Ravens in a very uncomfortable spot, because agreeing to that means taking on massive financial risk and potentially reshaping how they handle contracts moving forward. And when a negotiation starts at this level, there's no easy solution, which opens the door to a much more drastic reality of what Baltimore might have to do next. This is where things take another step forward, and not in a good way for Baltimore. Because this isn't just outside speculation anymore. People around the league are pointing to a very specific outcome. Insider Jason LaCanfora laid it out in a way that honestly feels like a quiet ultimatum. He wrote, "There seems to be but one solution here. In other words, there aren't multiple paths. There's basically one. And that one solution is anything but simple." According to him, the Ravens would need to offer a fully guaranteed 5-year deal that goes well beyond the $60 million per year mark set by Dak Prescott. To me, this is where the negotiation stops being difficult and starts becoming extreme. Because it's not just about paying more, it's about paying significantly more and guaranteeing all of it. When you combine that with Lamar's original demand, the picture becomes crystal clear. He's aiming for the biggest contract in NFL history in terms of both guarantees and annual value. And what LaCanfora is basically saying is this: if Baltimore wants to get this done now, they're going to have to accept that new reality. And being completely honest with you, teams don't usually operate like that. They try to control the market, avoid inflating deals, protect long-term cap flexibility. But here that dynamic feels flipped. From my perspective, the Ravens aren't setting the terms anymore. They're reacting to Lamar. And when someone with that level of access says there's only one way out, it raises a bigger question. Does Baltimore actually have a choice here? Or have they already lost control of the situation? This is where the situation gets even more complicated, because now it's not just about money or contract structure. It's about leverage. And honestly, when you break it all down, it feels like the Ravens have lost a big part of their negotiating power against Lamar. LaCanfora shared a line that really sums it up. According to executives, general managers, and agents around the league, Jackson has the Ravens checkmated. No sugarcoating. That means Lamar has them cornered. And this isn't exaggeration. That's coming from people who deal with these situations every day. Once you understand why, it all clicks. The Ravens can't just hold on to him long-term using the usual tools. After 2027, the franchise tag is no longer an option to keep control. On top of that, they can't trade him without his approval. So those traditional pressure points teams rely on, they're basically gone. To me, this is the most critical part of the entire story. Because when a player has this level of control, the entire negotiation flips. It's no longer the team setting the terms and adjusting details. It's the player deciding how far things can go, and the team choosing whether to accept it. And when you stack that with everything else, the record-setting demand, the only solution scenario, it becomes clear this isn't just a tough negotiation. It's one where one side is in a much stronger position, and that leads directly into another key point. Lamar has already shown he doesn't back down when it comes to guarantees. If there was ever any doubt about how far Lamar is willing to go in these negotiations, his history answers that pretty quickly. And to me, this is one of the most important pieces of the entire situation, because it shows this didn't just start now. It's a consistent pattern in how he's dealt with the Ravens. Lamar shared a very direct insight here. According to league sources, Lamar turned down multiple offers in the past, including short-term deals that were fully guaranteed. And the reason was simple. They didn't meet the level of security he wanted. The quote says it all. Jackson turned down multiple short-term fully guaranteed deals, and was adamant then that, well, more than 3 years had to be fully guaranteed at signing. To me, that speaks louder than anything happening right now. It shows Lamar doesn't negotiate based on pressure or outside noise. He has a very clear standard: long-term guarantees, real stability, and no scenario where the team can walk away without paying the full value. That also explains why things feel stuck right now. This isn't about tweaking numbers or finding middle ground. This is a fundamental difference in philosophy. Teams want flexibility. Lamar wants total security. And when those two collide, there's no quick fix. Looking at that track record, it's hard to imagine him suddenly changing his stance at this point in his career. Which brings up a big question. How long can this drag on before it starts seriously impacting both the team and Lamar's future in Baltimore? If you're enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button to help the purple flock grow. Time is becoming a real factor in this situation, and to me, this is where things get even more sensitive for the Ravens. Because this isn't something that can drag on forever without consequences. There's a real expectation around the league that something gets done before the 2026 season starts, as pointed out by Lamar. What adds even more urgency is a warning coming directly from inside the NFL. One general manager didn't hold back. You either sign him before the season, or there's a good chance he's not there in 2027. That doesn't sound like an opinion. That sounds like a warning. A very real one about the risk of losing Lamar if this isn't resolved soon. That completely changes the dynamic. It's not just about agreeing on numbers anymore. There's a timeline here, and the longer this drags out, the more uncomfortable things get, internally and publicly. Especially if Lamar enters the season without a new deal. From my perspective, that kind of scenario can create real tension. A two-time MVP stepping on the field with an uncertain future, that's always going to be a storyline. It brings noise, distractions, and questions that don't just go away. And when you put everything together, the historic demands, the lack of leverage for the Ravens, Lamar's firm stance, and the ticking clock, it's obvious. This situation needs a resolution soon. Because if it goes beyond that point, the risk stops being hypothetical and starts becoming very real. After looking at everything, one thing stands out. The Baltimore Ravens are facing a decision that could shape the future of the franchise for years to come. This isn't just a tough negotiation. It's a high-stakes standoff involving record-breaking money, control, and the future of one of the most important players in the league. And to me, the longer this drags on, the clearer it becomes that there's no resolution without a major impact on one side. On the other side, Lamar Jackson is sending a very clear message with his approach. He knows exactly what he's worth, and he's not backing down. The demand for guarantees, his negotiation history, and the leverage he holds right now put him in an incredibly strong position. This goes beyond a contract. It's a battle over who controls the direction of this franchise moving forward. So now I want to hear from you. If you were in the Ravens' position, would you pay Lamar everything he's asking for? Or would you hold your ground? Drop your take in the comments, because this is one of those situations that really splits opinions. And if you're a true Ravens fan and love keeping up with everything happening around the team, don't leave this video without sharing it with a friend who's just as passionate. They're definitely going to enjoy this. See those videos on your screen right now? I picked the first one especially for you, and the other is recommended by YouTube. Go check them out, and I'll see you in the next video.